Welcome to the podcast about venture capital, where investors and founders alike can learn how VCs make decisions and reach conviction. Your host is Nick Moran, and this is The Full Ratchet.
Welcome back to The Full Ratchet. On today's special segment of Investor Stories, the investors address trends, sectors, and markets that they think are positioned for outsized returns in the future. This is the segment called What's Next? On today's special segment, we have Ali Tamaseb of DCVC. Ali, can you talk about sectors or trends that you're bullish on?
So I like industries that we are paying less attention to. So I love mining, and that's not crypto mining. That's like physical metal, cobalt, battery type of material mining. The future of materials, how we can mine or optimize or build better materials. Constructing building and infrastructure for cheaper. How we can build transportation that's cheaper. How we can dig holes that are cheaper. Kind of the boring kind of companies. Chemicals, there's a lot of chemicals and agrochemicals and petrochemicals. There's a lot of value in these industries. So I'm not an investor in tech for tech. There's a lot of great investors for those areas. What I look for is exceptional founders and super founders who are going after these massive trillion, like each of these sectors that I mentioned, they're like 2 times larger than the whole tech ecosystem. Like chemicals, mining is $1.6 trillion. Chemicals, construction, each and every one of these industries that I talk about are larger than the whole tech ecosystem and industry. And I think we need more entrepreneurs going after these markets and competing with the large chemical companies and large agrochemical companies and large construction companies in those areas.
On this special segment, we have Jonathan Ebinger of Blue Run Ventures in Transform Capital. Jonathan, can you talk about sectors or trends that you're bullish on?
Yeah, I can. What's nice though for me, Nick, in this current fund is I don't need to really do too much guessing. When we're investing in Series C and D companies, where these companies are already at a run rate that I can kind of tag along to what sectors they're investing in. But to answer your question more directly, I am excited about what's happening with open banking. I think that's going to be a huge catalyst for additional innovation. And it's happening not just there, but there's an analog happening in health data as well. If you can have open data for your health records, again, obviously with HIPAA compliance and so forth, we'll be able to, I think, reduce a lot of the medical charges, have folks have more optionality for care, things like that. So I think this trend, which has been talked about for a long time, is finally happening with the open APIs for data sharing for health data, for financial data. Those two primarily, I think, are just going to be rainforests of innovation for new companies.
On today's special segment, we have Russ Heddleston of Docsend. Russ, can you talk about sectors or trends that you're bullish on?
Well, I'll tell you one trend I'm confused about, which is all the crypto stuff and Web3. And I've read a lot about it and it's really fascinating. And it's so interesting that where my head is at, I'm like, there's a lot in just B2B SaaS land where there's just tons of stuff to get done. And so like one of my investments, the company UserGen, is a very basic value proposition around like following your customers when they move to new companies. They're doing great as a company. Then I just think there's a ton of stuff in B2B SaaS land where there's just a lot of promise. So as we think about trends and sectors, like we've done some research on that. And certainly, if it's a hardware company, it's a lower likelihood to fundraise. If they do fundraise, they have a higher amount of capital that they're going to need. There's consumer, having worked at Facebook and, even Trulia in undergrad, arguably was B2C. A lot of that stuff can be scarier where, they kind of take off or they don't. In B2B land, you definitely have more chances at that, I would say, to create a company out of it. I'm sure there are going to be a ton more marketplace companies created. And there's just, all of this opportunity that's evolving as software continues to get into sectors that haven't used it a lot. And so, there are a lot of different areas that I get excited about. And I think, just international is another one, like different countries. And you see all these companies being created there and catering to their markets, which I think is incredibly healthy for that to spring up.
And what's the hang up on Web3 and crypto?
It is one of those things where I think it's early. I think we don't even have a lot of the plumbing yet. I'm hopeful that there are a couple of companies that are going to have really good end user value propositions that will be built. A lot of it seems speculative with ETFs. Undeniably, the technology underlying it all is fascinating. I just think it's quite early for kind of a number of applications for Web3 to be, springing up tomorrow. So it's one of those things where I'm gonna follow it and want to be involved in some way. It just seems early to me.
That will conclude this installment of Investor Stories. If you're enjoying the program and would like to see it continue, take a moment and leave a 5-star review in iTunes. Also, if you'd like updates on new content from TFR, as well as the top 10 VC articles every week, go to fullratchet.net and sign up for the newsletter. Okay, that will wrap things up for today. Until next time, over-prepare, choose carefully, and invest confidently. Thanks for joining me.